literally like all the time. And it was at school every week, people asking, what are you? And it is that feeling that's like, you don't belong. This is just another type of that same feeling, but now it's actually physical violence. It is people whose parents and cousins and uncles and aunts are being attacked. It is actually people getting spat on, people being assaulted, people being killed. And I think that it's an extension of that you don't belong that has peppered this history of America. And I think it's time for us to reckon with what does it really mean to be American? And I think for so long, it's like some people belong more than others, as they say in animal farms. Some animals are more equal than others. And, that's exactly what it feels like often to be Asian here. It's that you can be successful, you can do all the right things, and yet you'll never, ever be really an American. And that makes it really hard for us. And I think it's really important that we as a community remind this country how powerful and how important it is that the Asian community is a part of it, that it's part of the fabric of what we build. It is part of, what makes America special is that we have people from different backgrounds and races. We have, Dave Liu created a list on Medium of all the amazing American companies that were created by Asian founders. And he actually has a fund that you invest in Asian founders. And I participate in that fund because I want to see the success of Asian Americans and Asian American funds. And some of the best companies in this country have Asian CEOs and are founded by Asian Americans. And they would not exist but for the fact that we are, here and we are here together. And so it is a reminder for us that, think about all that wouldn't be here but for the fact that we have the Asian American community as well.
I think so much of what you said there reminds me of this idea that in leadership and in affecting change, first we have to look at our history, right, and seeing the good in it as well as what needed to be fixed, but building that into the fabric and the power of the story. And Deb, you and I have talked about story quite a lot before, so let's pivot to that a bit. So when all of us, when we have a voice, because every one of us here, if you have a talent, you have a gift, you have a voice, right? When you have a voice, then you can tell a story. So let's talk about the American story with the AAPI community as part of that. And then how do we build our own personal stories and share that out? Because people respond to stories. They don't respond to data as much. Data is, stories are data put into a context that has to be emotionally resonant. Our brains are wired to remember stories. So you talk about storytelling a lot. Give us some tips for how, from the perspective of an AAPI leader, how one can share one's story.
Well, I think, one of the things that's been brought up, especially the Stop Asian Hate campaigns, is people are telling their stories for the first time. Mm. And what's interesting is I grew up in a place and I felt like it was very isolating. I didn't really share that much publicly about it. I ended up posting something on LinkedIn and eventually something on Substack and Facebook about my experience. And so many people said to me, I had that exact same experience. And I've known these people, some of them for decades. Some of them I grew up with and we had never talked about it. I think for so long we were like, well, maybe it's just me. If I were just, for me, I actually squelched my voice, which was if I were just like less objectionable, if I were less Asian looking, if I were American enough, people would stop doing this. People would stop throwing rocks at my parents' car and they broke the windows and they would stop crank calling us at, all hours of the night and make, fake Chinese accents. And that was, I grew up that way thinking, well, maybe it's just us. But it turns out that what was amazing about this moment of awakening is how many people actually had the same experience, and we just never talked about it. So many people reached out to me after I shared it, and they said, I had that exact same experience growing up in rural Washington. Another person said, yeah, I used to be, bullied relentlessly, and this is someone I grew up with from the time I was 6. And he said, and he had never told me this. And I realized that, we have for so long silenced our voice, hoping that maybe if we just put our heads down and, didn't raise any objections, that people would accept us. But I realize now that it's that power of storytelling. It's the power of actually sharing what it's like that will bring awareness. I think one thing I've admired about the LGBTQ community was for a long time they hid, and then they said, you know what, we're just going to tell you the story of what it's like. And that story really opened up their community. And it was really hard. It was not something that was socially acceptable, but at the same time, to be able to share with your family, to realize that someone in your family is LGBTQ, to, made so many more people recognize that this was a huge issue, that this discrimination wasn't the other, it wasn't someone else. It was within your family, it was within your friend group. It was something that was really powerful, that now people had empathy for something that seemed like so distant. And I think as we tell our stories, as we talk about, the fact that my cousin was spat on and punched in New York City, it's a reminder that this touches so many people in this country, and yet by saying nothing and pretending it didn't happen, that silence is actually what allows it to continue.
Yeah, I remember when Atlanta happened, there was a feeling of, there were so many stories that came out, right? And there's something in some Asian cultures that is called eating bitterness, which is you don't make a fuss. You don't make a fuss. You just let it lay low, and then it will pass, right? But in doing that, maybe we're being complicit, right? That it's about raising the story, telling the story, and then highlighting each other's story, but not in a way that's judgmental, but in a way that is, this is a reality, what's happening, right? But it's connecting with the human being, the sorrow and the grief in each other. And I remember this William Butler Yeats quote, genius was it, talent perceives differences, but genius unity. And so much of what we have to perceive in each other is recognizing the common humanity of one another. Did we just lose Deb there for a second? Hey, Bing.
Oh, hey. Oh, okay. I think she's back.
Yeah, so this idea of recognizing each other's humanities and sharing that story. So at this point, I'm going to invite the audience to continue to type in any questions that you may have for Deb and me in the comments, because we would love this to be a conversation that includes you as well. But in the meantime, Deb, I think we lost Deb again.
Sorry about that. My internet hiccuped.
It's okay. Hiccups are okay. All right. So in the meantime, while people are starting to type their questions in, Deb, another question for you is on the, for this community, the tech community, as a former senior VP of Facebook, what role do you see all the large social media platforms play in society towards addressing the discrimination and hatred against AAPI community, and what can they be doing better? Because this is about amplifying stories too, isn't it?
Well, so much of organizing actually happens on social media. Mm-hmm. So much of it is connected through messaging. So much is connected through Facebook groups. You can actually see like communities on WhatsApp and Twitter, and these communities are extremely powerful. And I think these are mediums for telling our story and for sharing some of the challenges that we face as a community and amplifying those stories. But just like anything can be misused, the telephone, people can print, I remember there was a story, they said when the printing press first came out, they said, finally, everyone can be on the same page. We can all read the same things. We can have access to information. And some of the first things that were printed were misinformation. And so this is as old as the printing press. We still have the challenge of also communities that aren't always on the same page, the conspiracy theories, issues. And I think that we need to recognize that that's possible as well. And so, just that we should leverage these communities, though, and bring together people to actually talk about the things that we can do together. And it is the power of those communities that allow us to have events like this, but also to be able to share them on YouTube, to have people watch the demos, to people, to actually share that information. And I think that, social media is much more good than it is negative, but we also need to understand that anything that is positive can also be abused. And that's part of the work that we need to do in the tech community too. It's just, how do we actually prevent abuse? How do we protect our community from people who are, slandering it or actually, causing it harm as well? And that's the balance that we have in tech. But everything, you can use a car and hit somebody. Like anything good can actually have negative consequences. And so much of the work that we need to do is really mitigating the negative and amplifying the positive.
Yeah, that's so beautifully said. So we got a question, and what the question here is: what are some of the leadership growth stories both of you have seen that the AAPI aspiring leaders can learn from? All right, so Deb, you go first.
Well, there's so many amazing, tech leaders who are from the AAPI community. And I was reading Dave Liu's list on Medium of the amazing companies like Zoom that were created by tech founders who are Asian. And, I think that we should constantly look for those role models. But it's not just the massively successful big companies, but also the ones who are serving our communities. I saw there was a small tech company focusing on helping Chinese restaurants during COVID, right? These are the kinds of things that, because I think something like in New York, 40% of the Chinese restaurants are going to close because they were just on the edge of financial ruin and didn't have access to capital. I think these are the kinds of problems also where you see kind of the Asian community coming together and bringing together resources to help. And it is that problem solving that will continue to be really important.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I see it as something more personal in terms of answering that question from a leadership growth perspective. I think so often, because we are taught to just focus on academia and be an academic standout, that the first thing we try to do when we show up is to try to be smart. And I've fallen into this trap so many times, right? Like throughout my career where let me go into the room and let me try to prove myself and let me try to prove just how smart I am, because that's how I add value. But what I've discovered is people want you to show up as a human being first. And part of that is when you show up as a human being, you show your warmth. I talk about my kids quite a bit, even in the first conversation with whether someone's a CEO or a student. When you show up as a human being with your values, like these are the things I care about, this is what I value, people connect and relate to that. And when people connect and relate to that, they will then have a better shot at listening to what you have to say. There's that adage, they won't care what you know until they know that you care. And so that's been one of the biggest growth lessons for me. And I've seen that, as I coach, I've seen that in other leaders around me. And we're in a society, we're in a context now where there's more uncertainty, there's more volatility. What people, especially after this past year we've all been through, people are longing for that connection as a human being. So as smart as all of you are, remember to show up as a human being first, because that's how you can, as Deb said earlier, connect more powerfully. And connection builds community, and that's leadership. Another question, and this is from Beiming Liu. What are some of the things you wish you did before you became a leader in your field? Deb, you go first.
When I say wish I did, I mean, I've done all the things I wish I could have done. I think if I could kind of, one thing I do ask people in a lot of fireside chats I do, which is like, what is one piece of advice you wish you could give yourself when you were starting out? So a thing is like, hey, when you started out your career, what is the one thing I wish I could have known and what I could have done? I think I would have realized that the things that actually bring you to a place and make you successful is probably not the thing that's going to get you to the next place. And so much of it is really having that learning mindset and constantly improving yourself. I think that was what I really, I was extremely introverted, as I told you. I learned how to be really quiet so that nobody would object to the fact that I was Asian. And I learned that really did not work in the workplace at all. But for years, I kind of fought it. Well, I'm introverted. I don't like doing these things. I don't like writing. I write a lot. I hated writing for years. And so I realized that anything is a skill you can learn. You can get better at it. Look, I'm never going to be a marathon runner, but I can run a couple miles and I can get better at it, right? I can work out. And so, you can always get better. The question is, you might not be Usain Bolt, but you could always do something and learn and get better. And so what are the things that are holding you back? And how do you actually process those things so that you're constantly fixing those things before you get to the place where it slams you into the wall? Because what happens is your weaknesses often are overlooked in the job that you're at, and then you're going to get to a job at which that's going to be the reason you can't go any further, and it's going to be devastating. And so the question for you is how do you actually figure that out beforehand so that you don't end up in a place where you slam into the wall and you go, well, hey, what happened? How do you actually fix those weaknesses so that, I think people should play their strengths, but there are weaknesses that will hold you back forever. And you need to figure out what those things are and start working on them. because it will be the thing that will actually stop you. And so the thing I wish I did before I became a leader is to know exactly what those things are. But, I think getting feedback, having a coach has been incredible and identifying them along the way.
Yeah, this idea of self-awareness, that is so key to leadership. Being able to know where your areas for improvement, as well as what you should be doubling down on. My answers are somewhat along the similar line. I would say go broad, because the type of job that you're going to be in 5 years from now, let's just say 2 years from now, doesn't even exist yet, right? So being able to go broad. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about how do we predict the future? Because that's one thing that leaders have to do, is to be able to predict the future. Now, we may not know what will happen exactly, but we can step back and look at some of the major trends and some of the second, third, fourth order effects. So, for example, if you are in the energy drink business, a major disruptor to your industry would be self-driving cars, right? That's a second, fourth, even. There's no adjacency. That's an effect. That's a third, fourth, fifth order effect. And so the way to predict, to be better capable to predict the future is, one, to be able to get learning from a broad set of things. Don't just be narrowly focused in your industry. That was one piece of learning. So today I build networks across sports, tech, nonprofit, academia. That's served really, really well. The diversity of networks, the diversity of learning. And then two, building in enough time for self-reflection. I used to think that in order to grow, it's all about doing. But just as important as doing is also taking time to reflect on what you've learned every single day. So one little practice I would advise everyone to do is every day, just jot down, what did you learn? How did you grow? Because when we're so close, we don't see it. But if you are able to take 52 days, even of that, you can start seeing how you've grown over those 52 days. So reflection and going outside of your immediate field. Deb, there's a question here specifically for you. You founded a very successful community within a short period of time called Women in Product. What kind of tips do you give to other community leaders to help grow and rally more to join this cause to combat with the discrimination, hatred towards the AAPI community?
Yeah, community building is really important. And it's about cultivation. It's about kind of shared purpose. Women in Product, we started kind of as a way to bring more women into product and technology. It is a way to advocate for bringing more women in and to actually take the women who are already here and help them be more successful. We put on a conference every year. We have 24 chapters and probably 25,000 members of this organization. And it's been around for about 5 years or so. And a lot of the work that we do is really, do we have a center of purpose? Do we have something that we care about that's pushing us forward? Where is that going to go? And so I think community building is really around shared purpose and around rallying around a thing that you're really passionate about. And so for any community, it's really having a center of focus and not kind of getting distracted by other things, not trying to grow bigger than you need to, but actually focusing on, are you serving the mission that you set out to do? And do you have the support in order to build that?
Yeah. And actually, Deb is so humble. I want to highlight another key aspect in building that woman in product community, which is generosity, right? Like Deb is probably one of the busiest people on the planet when she started Woman in Product. But she took the time out because she recognized there was a need. This was really important and purposeful and meaningful. And so as busy of a mom and leader that she is, she took the time out, carved out time to co-found this community. And that's generosity. And I think a word all of us hold close to our hearts right now is being generous towards the next generation, towards each other, because that has to be the start of why anything is founded, right? From a spirit of generosity. The best companies started with a spirit of generosity to understand how we can better affect positive change in the world. Building communities is no less different. Here's a question. What are the usual ways to bring influence to your surroundings and to other people?
Well, I think one is finding your voice. I think so often, especially in a collective kind of, a lot of us grew up in collective societies. You were taught to kind of keep your head down, do the work. People will recognize your brilliance. And I realized that that's not how the world works. So much of success is really the storytelling. It's really the narrative around what you're building. And I have built amazing products and didn't know how to tell that story. And it felt like, we kind of toiled in obscurity. And I built a very similar product at the same scale that we told the story to everybody. And it completely changed the trajectory of how people talked about our product. And so I think a lot of what we need to do is actually influence, not just doing the work. Influence is making sure it's known. You can write the most amazing scientific paper and get it published, and if no one picks it up, no one cites it, did it matter? Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I do this talk, and I did this for the researchers at Facebook, which was, I said, you could do the most amazing research in the world, and if no one reads it, it's like a tree that falls in the forest. That's great. Like if no one hears it, it doesn't matter. And I think that we often just think that will stand on itself, but literally the whole point of building an amazing product is for people to use it. The whole point of researching things and doing research or designing something is it so that it will come to life and influence the roadmap. The whole point of coding something is so that it will have practical applications. And so much of what we do, I think we forget that we think the merit is in the work, and a lot of it is, but a lot of it is also the amplification of that work. It's actually the marketing of that work. It is the making sure people are using it and getting value out of it. That if you could get 10 people to use it, or 1,000 or 1,000,000, and it's the same amount of work, why wouldn't you want that? And so I do think we often just think it's immodest. Let's say we say the word immodest, or it is, self-promoting. So I hear people say, well, I'm just really bad at self-promotion. And I said, well, if you call it self-promotion, you're definitely not going to do it. What if you called it amplification of the quality of the work that your team is doing? What if you called it, having more impact in the world? Then you're actually going to think about doing it, right? And I think sometimes we tell ourselves these stories that are like, oh, that's self-promotion. I can't do that. And, but the words you used, you've already chosen the path that you're going to take, which is, I'm not going to do anything about this. Mm-hmm. So if you want to have influence, look, it is not comfortable to put myself out there every week and write something. I did this for years internally, and I only started publishing it this year. I've written articles for a bunch of different places, and for every time I'm like, well, what if no one cares? What if no one reads it? And I just decided, you know what? Maybe one person will get something out of this, and that's enough. And so, I was talking to somebody, and he said, because I told him, well, I feel really self-conscious writing. And he's like, write it for the one person who needed this today. And I thought that was really insightful, because somebody is going to get something out of what you're doing. And so what if you just told that one person? And maybe that becomes 10 people or 1,000 people or 10,000 people, but at least it's a good start.
It goes back to meaning and purpose, right? Like, I know as someone who writes, we don't write because we have the answers. We write because we're in search of questions that we want answered. And then as we gain the answers, then we're just sharing those out. Same thing as we're developing products, as we're developing, companies out there or communities. It's from the space of, it's not for a self-serving ego. It's because we're curious and we want to make a positive impact. And that's a start of influence, because people resonate and connect with that purpose and that meaning. But I would like to take influence also on a slightly different pivot as well. Everything Deb said is so true and so important. When I look at influence, I think about leadership on that one-on-one. And so leadership, research by my colleagues at Duke University, Simsik and Ellen Lind, have shown they have a 6 domains of leadership model. And the base is really 3 different parts. That's a foundation. One is personal leadership. The effect is really credibility. The middle part, the effect is it's relational leadership, effect is trust. And then the final part is contextual leadership. The effect is really building community. And we're looking at key effects, and all credibility, trust, community, all part of influence. How you build credibility, how you affect, that's from a mix of your expertise, your vision, your authenticity, your values, right? You can draw on any of those in the context that you're in. But I want to talk a little bit about trust, which is really the linchpin of leadership. When we talk about trust and building trust, it's really answering for the other person, I get what you are about. I get where you're coming from. I get you. So when you think about it, when people follow you, they're giving up a little bit of control to follow you. So they need to know that you also have when you're making tough decisions, you also are considering the full range, including their best interests at heart. And so part of influence isn't just about you projecting you. A big part of influence is you letting the other person know that you care and you know them and you understand their motivations and their fears. So just on a very one-on-one level, that's how I think about influence. One question from Ricky. There are lots of people from AAPI community who are not born here in the States, but come over and stay for education, work, and family. What are some obstacles faced by immigrants of AAPI community that you observe? And how should they best tackle them?
I think that's a really good question, because if you look at those who for example, one of the things I've heard is, it's easier to be Asian American because you're kind of mostly Americanized. But if you come for college, you have less kind of understanding of the culture, right? And that's absolutely, that culture gap does exist because you didn't grow up steeped in the American culture. And you don't, maybe you didn't grow up like understanding American sports or, the way people, and so you're actually like translating all the time. And there's always this barrier where you're kind of going, well, what does it mean when people reference some show from the 80s that you did not watch, or, and I think that cultural gap is a challenge. And I think one of the things that we need to do is be more inclusive in how we talk about the Asian community, that there are a lot of people who come from very different backgrounds. There are a lot of people who come with very different challenges. And how do we help each other? I think that one of the things that has been really helpful for me is, I think it's been extremely helpful for me to have worked in Asia for a summer and to realize the cultural gap of what it's like to be in another country that my parents are from. So my parents are from Hong Kong, and I went there for a summer, and I was baffled, and I had spent a lot of time there as a kid, and so, but even still, like, the workplace was completely foreign to me, just how the culture, everything, and it was all in English too, so it wasn't even in a foreign language. And so one of the things that I think we need to recognize is that barrier is always going to be there unless we help break it down, which is, what are the cultural touch points? What are we expecting of people? Are we expecting people to just all have the same baseline? Or are we actually going to give people context? I think so often you walk into a room, you assume everyone has had the same cultural experience, understands everything. And that is the worst assumption. And instead, bringing people along, giving people context, helping them understand, and really opening doors and saying, hey, I noticed that you were puzzled by this. Like, is there something I can do to help? I do think that we being more sensitive to that, especially since we did grow up in communities where our parents are often immigrants, and we do have a better understanding of what the gaps are, that we can actually help those who are immigrants, those who Asian Americans can help those who are immigrants, but also that immigrants can help each other too, to fight through some of the challenges. I mean, the other thing I noticed is I talked to a few people about, joining Ancestry or Facebook over the years, and a lot of people have these massive visa issues that are very difficult to overcome, and it's literally colors every single decision they have to make in their life. And whether or not they can leave the country for a trip, for work, whether they must leave the country because they have to do some sort of application. And I think we often just ignore those things, but being sensitive and understanding that there's just other challenge where, you have to stay at this job for another 9 months because you're halfway, you're almost done with your visa application, even if you're very unhappy. Those are things that I think so many of us take for granted. And I think it is really important that we're sensitive to that and we talk through what those challenges are and we lift each other.
And it goes back to this theme that we've been hearing all along of like speaking up, like speaking up and speaking out. I mean, I came to this country at age 7 and I just realized like 5 years ago that corn chips were made of actual corn. Deb. And my husband was from South Dakota. He just sort of like laughed because he's like, how can you not know? I'm like, well, hot dogs are not made from dogs. So or buffalo wings from buffalo. So why would I assume that cornflakes are made from corn? But that's just, there's like an idiom still fly over my head. But I think this idea of, there's a Walt Whitman quote that says, be curious, not judgmental. right? And so on both sides, like we can help others by being curious and not judgmental, but we also have to give ourselves the space that if we let our curiosity show, we can invite others to get to know us better. And it starts with knowing us as human beings and our values. And then it's sharing the things. I mean, I remember bringing soy milk to school in second grade, or baso, like and rice for lunch, and people looked at me like, you're so crazy. And tofu, and now it's like that's like what everybody drinks is soy milk and tofu, and I'm thinking we're way ahead of you several decades ago. So it's been, the good thing is there's been a lot of positive change. I see the good, see the change, and building on that momentum. And as painful as this past year has been, there's positive change going forward. But it also starts with us too. It also starts with us. Bing, I see our time is about up. So Bing, should we bring you back on stage?
Oh man, I don't know. I would wish that we can continue this on for another hour. Like so many questions in the chat that I hope that we had the time to answer. But I'm sure this is not going to be the last time we talk to you two both. And I think we've learned already so much from you two today. And thank you so much for sharing and showing empathy and using your experience to lead us. And thank you so much. But yes, we are on a pretty tight schedule. We have 11 teams who have a ton of really fun things and exciting things to show, and we want to get through them. I saw a lot of the judges already jumping in also, and thank you all for being here. For those of you, it's a little bit, for those of you who first time using Around the World, I'll just give you guys a quick, tutorial on how to get to the final demo time session. So there's a button. Don't click on it just yet. On your left bottom bar, it's a red button. If you hover it, it says leave. We'll actually need you to click on that. And then once you click on that, you will see the full page of all the sessions and go to the final demo time session, which should be the second session listed there. And we will see you all over there. And with that, I wanted to just please join me to give a round of applause for Dab and Sundin today for such a great session. And we hope to see you again in future events.
Thank you.
I'll also do it virtually here.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you all so much. And we'll see everyone in the other session. See you guys.
Screen so we can have slides shared with everyone. So let me present. So as all of you know, this is our final demo time for all of our top selected projects. Really excited to have all the judges here with us today. Judges, what we will do is I will introduce each of you briefly. And for 30 seconds, if you could kindly do a very quick self-intro / a few words on why you're excited to be here today, that would be wonderful. So to start, a very warm welcome to Bill, who is the VP of Engineering at Facebook. Bill, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Sunday afternoon, everyone. Very happy to be here.
Perfect. Welcome, Bill. Next, we also have Edward, who is a physician and healthcare executive at Kaiser Permanente. Welcome, Edward.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's super exciting to be here. Thanks for organizing. And this is something that I think is incredibly important in healthcare. We talk about social determinants of health and health disparities. We need a lot of tools and data to advance that. So this is the perfect thing to have tools and data to advance social justice for AAPI. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Edward. And we also have Joanne, who is the VP of Product Design at LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. So glad to join the community and also to see all the innovation come from the state. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Hopefully you'll enjoy some of the product design components of our hackers upcoming. So you'll get to see them shortly. Today we also have here with us John, who is the Director of Engineering at Netflix. Thank you for making time.
Hi, and thank you. I'm John Midgley. Thank you very much for having me. I'm super excited. I've already looked at some of the YouTube videos and seen all the great work about educating, connecting, creating safety and all that kind of stuff. And I'm really excited to be involved in judging and helping to look at all this great work.
Amazing. Thank you. And we have our old friend, Lake, who is the chairwoman and president of HISTA, as well as partner of LDVP and CMU professor with us. Thank you, Lake.
Hi. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to see the demos. Can't wait. Yeah.
Awesome. Next, we have Peter, who is joining us for the very first time. Peter is CTO at Buzzfeed. Thank you,
Hello,
Peter.
everyone. Excited to be here. I've seen one is such an important initiative for us to have in terms of equality. But second all, I was looking over the videos. There are a lot of very ambitious hackathon projects. I think usually when we think about hackathons, we think of something much lighter. I feel like this one definitely, I can see a lot of thoughtfulness and put into it. So very excited to talk more about them.
Amazing. That's a great point, Peter. Hopefully we can all help these projects move forward to fruition as well. And next we have Lily with us, who is the Director of Engineering at Instacart. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. The AAPI community is really close to my heart. I watch the videos and there's a lot of really interesting ideas coming along. So excited to be part of this event.
Yeah, thank you, Lily. And coming up next, we have Spencer, who is a general partner at TSVC, who is also our kind sponsor for this event. So thank you for joining us and for all of your support.
Oh, my pleasure. And so glad to be here and so glad that our seed stage venture fund could be a part of it.
Thank you. Next, I want to welcome Sway, who is the Director of Member Product Data Science and Engineering at Netflix.
Hi, everyone. So honored to be here and very honored to be supporting such an important social cause. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for making time. Virginia, who is the Senior VP of Marketing and Ecosystems at Agora, really wanted to join us today, but unfortunately she has had a family emergency come up last minute, so sending her our best wishes and really appreciate her support so far. Hopefully we'll get to hear more from her going forward, which leads into our introduction for our next speaker, Wendy, who is the co-organizer of Stand With Asian Americans and SVP of Growth at Section 4, who's been also a tremendous supporter for our Tech for API Alliance. Thank you for joining us, Wendy.
Hi, everyone. So excited to be here today. I had a chance to take a look at the videos and very inspired by what all of you have spent, taken time out of your very busy days and careers to come and develop and build. So thank you so much for participating.
Thank you, Wendy. And last but not least, we have Sheldon, who is the Director of Product Design at Facebook. Welcome back. She was a speaker for us at our virtual rally last time around as well. I think she has maybe not yet logged on, but I'm sure she will be back shortly. So again, a very warm welcome to all of our judges. Really excited to present all the teams to you today. We have a number of top-rated ideas that we've selected from all the different applications that came in. So hopefully you'll enjoy some of them. In terms of logistics looking ahead to rest of our session together, I know earlier Chen walked you through a little bit in terms of what to expect, but because we're running on a strict time limit today, I'll be making sure to keep an eye on every single team having about 8 minutes to present today. And then you will have about 5 minutes each team to actually see their video and their pitch. And all the judges will have about 3 minutes for a quick Q&A. So if you don't mind, judges, we'll just rotate between each of you for questions for each of the different teams, although you'll have a lot more time for deliberation and asking questions in your private session as well. Also for all all members of the audience, you'll have a chance for questions for all the teams after the judges go for deliberation as well. And whether judges and or audience, you can always use the chat function to the right-hand side, way at the bottom, to send comments and or ask questions. So please feel free to leverage that function. And then teams, if you are running out of time, we also ask that all judges and audience members send questions so that teams can directly answer afterwards there as well. Perfect. So without further ado, I would love to walk us very quickly through our demo schedule. We have 11 teams that will be presenting today across a number of different projects. And in terms of judging criteria, just to recap, I think all the judges and audience members and team members know about this, but we'll definitely be looking at the scope and execution of the particular project. We'll be looking at the impact, whether or not it's addressing a real challenge, what the social impact, business value generated, etc. would be. And lastly, of course, we'll be taking into consideration the delivery and presentation. And prizes, I won't go into detail recapping, but we definitely have prizes for the top 3 teams as well as for the 5 runner-ups. We also have 3 specific categories that are sponsored generously by our partners. And the 3 categories would be for Best UI UX, for Best Justice Crime Tracker, as well as lastly for Most Popular Hack. And one last thing I'll mention on this last category, we invite all the audience members to go onto the YouTube videos that were submitted for each of the projects to upvote those videos. So our cutoff time is at 4 p.m. PST. So you'll have a little less under 2 hours to submit your votes. Some of the top ranked videos already have 200 likes on their videos. So please do submit your likes on ones that you like. And so the top voted video by 4 p.m. today will be winning this most popular hack category. With that, I'm excited to introduce the very first team, Village. Haoxiang, you have the floor. You'll just need to turn your camera and mic on in order for us to see you. Perfect, you're on.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, you're good.
Great. I am Mike Young from Team Village, and I will be starting off our presentation with our demo video.
Perfect.
Welcome to the introduction of our mobile app, Village. Many people stereotype and discriminate without the intention or conscious. Such behavior often results from...
I don't think we can see your screen. Do you mind sharing your screen as well?
I think you're sharing. Do you mind?
Yep. I can either share your video or you can go ahead and share your screen.
You guys see me now?
Yes, you're good.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. All right, I'm going to restart my video.
Perfect.
Welcome to the introduction of our mobile app, Village.
Many of the things, this looks great to me. I'm super curious. You're likely going to get some interesting biases of like more suburban areas are going to have higher rates of things happening. Had you considered trying to say maybe normalize by like where communities are so you can get a better picture of where there may be problems or so on?
That's a really good insight. I guess we haven't got to that level yet, but you're right. Depends also, how, I guess, fluent the reporter is in terms of the language. We may have some bias in the data source too. Our goal is, first of all, just
and the credibility and armor to truly stop Asian hate from the root. Here comes our group project. Welcome to the C, Chinese culture for you and me.
Hi everyone, I'm the CEO of We. I support the Chinese Community Center Hackathon project. Looking forward to collaborating with the C and serving the Chinese community in the US to the next level.
Hi, I'm Sally Kaufman-Flinchbon, and I am the Chief Operating Officer at the Oshman Family JCC. I'm really excited about the Chinese Community Center Hackathon project and look forward to the opportunity to collaborate with them.
Hi everyone, we are the C, Chinese Community Center. We are going to break the stereotype and bring you to a new era of CCC, which is JCC or YMCA for Chinese. In common understanding, many new immigrants and next generation think it is challenging to find a safe and modern space for Chinese community, while for other cultural groups in the US, they couldn't easily find a place or channel to learn Chinese culture. The traditional Chinatown was deemed old-fashioned and doesn't reflect the image of contemporary Chinese communities. And we would like to create a blueprint and branding for this new modern Chinese community center. Our mission is to promote Chinese culture as well as to welcome other different cultural groups through online, offline channels. We are going to build a strong, vibrant, and inclusive community that enhances wellness, meaning, and joy based on Chinese values, heritage, and culture. C events provide you a series of online and offline summits, conferences, and performances. The C programs offer routine activities like career development, reading clubs, and bilingual story time. The C buildings will host a variety of offline community activities and serve as social corner. The C app, web are our social media tools to stay connected.
When you open up the app, you're going to be able to explore all sorts of communities, topics, discussions. It's very easy to join with one tap. You can chat with your friends here in brand new creative ways. You can easily invite friends over or even invite a mini program to this chat. The C Plaza bot is basically a bot that showcases the C Plaza Community Center. You can easily sign up for an event you're interested in, view details, and also manage your RSVP status here.
On the website landing page, the user can see who and what we are, as well as news and updates at the C. The user can then navigate to the events page, where they can see a variety of events hosted by their local C. When the user clicks on an event, they can see an in-depth description of the event, as well as the ability to sign up.
We will promote the C through both online and offline, Chinese and native channels simultaneously. As a non-profit organization, volunteers are also extremely helpful. We compared our online model to Groupon and offline model to YMCA. We analyzed and concluded that the C is able to generate great cash flow after 2022. Thank you for listening to the C Hackathon project. Please join us.
Okay. Thank you very much, Yuri. Any questions?
Perfect.
Oh, looks like we need to get him to follow more Asians. Hopefully our voices can be heard by him and his team too. With that, I'll go back to our demo. Again, it's all working. Go ahead and try it out. Try your account and feel free to invite your friends to test it out too. As next steps, we have a few things that we want to do. We want to make the experience more opt-in to privacy. We want to make this a really easy social sharing moment. We need to improve our algorithm. To be honest, we haven't tested our precision and recall for our recognition algorithm, as well as we want to improve our recommendation algorithm. And many more. We want to include more sources of data like Facebook and LinkedIn, et cetera, et cetera. Again, we talked about this. There are many different types of echo chambers in the world. We really hope that we can expand this tool to later analyze all different types of echo chambers. We know it's an uphill battle, right? Asking someone to follow things that they're not interested in is just really difficult. People easily lose patience, but we're determined to make this work. We hope that all voices can be heard and all communities can come together to combat racism. Maybe this one project wouldn't make a huge difference, but we believe that as long as we're all continue to fight together, continue to work on this, we can move mountains. And thank you. We are Team Echo Chamber. Echo Balancer. And we're ready for Q&A. And here are some screenshots of people who have used our app already and shared their feedback. So, and I'll pause right here. Open for questions.
So absolutely love it. And then I think visibility and self-awareness is a step one. My question is, do you have this app intended for Asian community or the non-Asian community?
This is really intended for all communities. And like I said, when I logged on, and I'm going to be honest, like my Latino following was 1% or 2%. And I wasn't following any influencers there. And this really helped me to kind of broaden my eyesight. But I also really hope that all communities can use it because, like I was quoting some numbers, that the communities might not be talking as much as they think they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so I would, first of all, I totally agree with this approach. I think when we talk about stop Asian hate, and in the meantime, we're also looking inside ourselves as well, whether there is bias in our community, right? So this is a really good tool for our communities to be more collaborative, to be more understanding, supportive to each other. I do think that you may start thinking about introduce influencers, right? So if you find out that your current following is thin on one dimension, maybe there are some recommendations that based on your interest and background will be a good idea.
Absolutely. Recommendation is one of the top things that we are going to do next. I saw that Spencer had a question. Maybe we can go there and wanted to be.
Yeah. It's very quick one, which is how does your algorithm know if someone I'm following is Asian or white or whatever?
Great question. We built a model ourselves, mainly right now using last name matching. We use the population survey data from 2020. And if the last name matches directly, then we will categorize you. If it doesn't, then we will do a shortest path match. We know it's the precision and recall, like I said, we haven't measured it. It's probably not great yet. But we are going to potentially use some visual technology too. It's really easy actually, but we just haven't gotten to it yet. Wendy, please.
I was just going to say that is super clever. That's how it's kind of done in political marketing, is using the last name. So I just love this concept, guys. I think this is like a press release waiting to happen, and all of the data we can pull out of this is going to be pretty amazing. So great job.
Thank you. I saw Edward.
Yeah, great, fantastic tool. I love how this is great for someone who's enlightened or wants to broaden their exposure to different viewpoints. How might you nudge those who need more enlightening?
We really hope that what we hope to happen is someone like Lady Gaga, who actually have very diverse following, decide to share her results. And whether or not others share, whether or not there are, I don't want to make any judgments, but people don't have to share. But hopefully the ones who are doing great can share. At least that will create the visibility. Great. I think we're running low on time. Sure, I'll go back to you and I'll drop the mic. Thank you, guys.
And also to the Echo access to the sheet. So while you still remember all the previous 4 pitches, please do fill in the score sheets. Without further ado, thank you again to Bin and EcoBalancer. And coming up next is Jin Fan and the We the Asians team. Welcome the next team.
Hello, everyone. Are you able to hear us?
Yes. You're good.
All right, let's get started. Hi, everyone. We're Team We the Asians. We're working on getting Asian Americans' voices heard in U.S. politics. 6,600. This is the number of anti-Asian hate crimes we saw last year, and this number is increasing rapidly. You've probably seen these headlines before, but you know this is just the tip of the iceberg. So, as a lot of Asian American politicians have said it, now is a pivotal time for Asians to get involved with politics and fight for this from the top. But why don't Asian Americans usually get involved? So among some of the top reasons we found were language barriers, not being familiar with the political system, and they don't think they can make a difference. How are we going to solve this? We built a web platform to help users get informed, to take actions and influence bills and regulations by providing translated documents and suggested actions and templates, as well as results tracking and news updates. This works at a high level in 3 simple steps: discover, action, and track. We'll see how this works. Live website, and I'll also ping the URL into our chat.
Are you able to see the website?
Yes.
Cool. So welcome to WeTheAsians.com. When you land on the homepage, you can get started right away by searching for topics that you care about here. It gives you the option to search for bills, regulations, and legislators who sponsor acts relevant to your searching topics. Down below is some information about legislation. One of our website goals is to really bridge the knowledge gap and the gap between their life and the politics. In this section, people will see some highlighted bills and regulation of the month when they don't have specific goals to search for. And now let's explore the website and the user journey. Let's say I'm an international student in college, originally from China, and I heard good things about this website from a friend. So here I am as a first-time user. I just browsed the homepage and I'm going to sign up. I don't like to give up my information, but they seem to provide some useful function with it. So I'm going to give it a try and see if answering these questions can give me better experience on the website. So I go back to the page, and this My Tracker tab caught my attention. I'm going there, and right now I don't have any bills or regulations I'm tracking. So let's explore. And we can do a quick search of Asia, and here are some listed results. And then do a little filter of the results. I see 3. And this democracy in Burma got my attention. And I'm able to read the full text in congress.gov, but the text is going to be very long and tedious and might very hard to read. So I can also choose to read the short summary and the translated version with the language set to default to the one I selected in sign up. I can also advocate for the act, and hopefully I can see more people advocating for it. Here I can find a list of sponsors and committees involved. But after I read this box, I realized it's wiser to contact my legislator. As I click on Contact, I'm taken to a letter template pre-filled with the information of this congressman, and suggested content where I can copy, paste, and easily start filling in my arguments. Email button takes me directly to this congregament's contact page. And down below here, we really encourage people to upload their letters to this section so that the peers can use it as a reference, especially for those with language barriers. Going back to the bill page, I can read some comments on the bill, and then I'm very interested in the bill and want to see the progress after it so I can track it. And now it shows up in my tracker. So next time when I land on the, come back to the website, my tracked bills will show up on the homepage as a quicker navigation and also help me stay on top of the news. So this is it on the website.
Great. Sarah, do you want to start sharing and I can... Behind the scenes, can everyone see this? Okay, so yeah, we built this over the past 10 days from scratch, which means it's not perfect, but that's okay. We have a path forward. So over the next few months, we plan on building out the core functionalities and loading the full set of data. We want to test with a small focus group to make sure that it works. We want to refine the platform based on the feedback and then finally roll it out in a stage 1 rollout. And what we're thinking in a stage 1 is we really want to target the awareness part of it, so having people come into the website and click and look. But in stage 2, we want to attract users to sign up and return. In stage 3, we want to promote actions. And lastly, we really want to measure and create the impact. So there are a number of other considerations in the pipeline. For example, in the future, we also want to look at adding in NGOs to support Asian causes. So people can contact these AGOs and join them because as a bigger group, we can make a better impact. Together with this platform and our collective efforts, we do believe that we can drive positive change through politics. What makes our platform so unique and impactful is that even if we only have 50 users in a month who send off emails, these emails are among the ones that the legislators receive every day, which means we're increasing our representation and making our voices much stronger. This is brought to you by our dream team. We want to give a shout out to our mentors, and we will be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, team. Judges. Getting all their projects together. So thank you for that. Thank you again to We the Asians team for your presentation. And up next, we have Project AP support. Please, team, if you can grab the mic button, I will invite you onto the stage. Perfect. We have put up my screen so you can see. This is the next team. Their YouTube video is right here. If they are not yet available, what we could do is we could play the video from the previous team, because I think the next team may not be ready yet. So why don't we do this? I will play the previous video for AP support. So while they're working on technicals, we can have that ready. Oh, actually, I see Calvin maybe is on stage now. Calvin, are you ready?
Hi, yeah, I believe.
You are up. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna try and see if Lexi can grab the mic just to make sure that works. Just 1 second. And can you guys also let me know if you can hear any audio?
No audio yet.
No audio?
Not yet.
Okay.
I do. Oh, Lexi has grabbed the mic, which is good. So she should have access now.
Let's see.
So if we're having, so while you're figuring that out, what we could do is, in the interest of time, I can play the previous team video if they're still figuring tech out. We have all the different teams' videos that were submitted. So
I think we can. I think we're ready. I'm gonna try to play the audio through the just from my phone and see if the computer speaker picks it up. All right.
Hello everyone, my name is Lexi V, and I'm joined by my partner, Liu. We're Team Crab. First of all, I want to thank everyone for being here. We're super excited and proud of our project and through the looking glass. The theme and focus of this project is on the representation of Asians in visual media. Representation is said to inform both how we see ourselves and how others see us. It's how minorities are portrayed in pop culture and media, if we're portrayed at all. It is the issues of negative associations and stereotypes. Just as when Deb and Cyan were talking about workplace diversity, seeing people that we can relate is a way to interpret our own actions and identity. It is a way of building connections. The problem is the discourse of representation is really limited to statistical or data analysis and individual examples. When we talk about the state of representation, we're forced to speak in terms of gross revenue, percentage of screen time, or on a case-by-case basis.
But what if, instead of talking about representation through these proxies, we could look literally and directly at the representation itself? The goal of this project is to do exactly that. Through the Looking Glass is an interactive digital media archive that tries to expose the reality of AAPI representation by inviting users to explore short-form visual media, such as movie trailers, advertisements, music videos, and etc.
The main solution of this page is what we're looking at right now. For each grade, we scan through a video and identify the moments that include the portrayal of AAPI characters and people. There are 9 clips from different movie trailers, as you can see. We can also filter and search by year, type, countries, and keywords. Clicking on the tab will reveal the year and creators of the content. Clicking on a specific video will bring us to the detail page. And when you return back to the main page, the video content will be shuffled. So while before we're looking at movies, and when we return back to this page, we'll maybe looking at a completely different set of movie trailers or even music video instead.
Now let's talk a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes, as this was a very technically challenging project. So first, we download all the raw videos, and we establish a threshold for changes in the RGB values of each frame. And this allows us to split the clips into scenes. Large changes in the RGB value above this certain threshold indicate that a scene has changed. We then use a computer vision library to detect the faces from a sample of frames. With these faces, we use a set of 4 facial recognition models together to detect the Asian faces. The use of several models is a feature that I wanted to highlight. At first, we tried each model individually, but the performance of the models were quite poor because of the low resolution of the images and blurriness. So we took some inspiration from ensemble models, which are based on the principle that when we combine the decision-making power of several models, we can exceed the performance of each individual model. So we implemented a primitive form of ensemble models by taking the average of the outputs of each of the 4 models, which improved our results. We think this project has a ton of future possibilities. Alongside our friends and hackathon mentors, we've talked about displaying more advanced information, such as emotions and object associations, drawing connections between similar poses, or even using natural language processing to compare the lines that Asians are given in this video. We also know that facial recognition technology has its own biases, and so we're thinking of ways to incorporate this self-awareness into the project. Speaking of the mentors, I wanted to take the time to personally thank Kwok, Jean, Chris, Lisha, Yashong, Rongfei, Wilson, and of course Ricky. Your feedback, your help, and encouragement were so important to shaping our project. To circle back to something that was said in the opening panel, what all of us are really trying to do in this hackathon is to find a way to consolidate power, right, and enable change. And we feel that our project is an important step towards doing this. This project isn't going to directly stop Asian hate, but hopefully it will better equip us for conversations surrounding representation and prepare us to apply the theoretical frameworks of representation in a practical way and to effect change. We're so excited to hear what everyone thinks about the project, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much, Calvin and Lexi, and for stepping up with the technical difficulties when you expected to present later. So appreciate that. Judges. With that, both again for this presentation. We'll keep on going, and then we'll come back to the previous project team at the very end. So without further ado, 8x8 voter registration app by Tyler. Welcome you to the stage. I just shared.
Occurs mostly in middle schools. In the United States, school bullying occurs mostly in middle schools, and there is a trend of children being bullied at a younger age. According to studies, there is an average of 1 in 4 students being bullied, and it goes worse for Asians. The proportion of Asian children who are miscommunication and lack of proactive support may also stop the victim from looking for help and causing them to become isolated and helpless.
So can share my screen now and restart your presentation.
And better guide and protect their children. We created Asian parent support.
Oh, I see. Yes, I can hear you.
AP support is
You see? Great.
You're good.
Perfect. I'm going to start. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the API team presentation. And our team has Guan Zhiko, Jason Kam, Robin Fan, and me, Xiaoqian Hu. We are all UX designers. As international students during this year, we find that many Asian students around us suffer from different degrees of discrimination. Research shows that Asian students are more likely to suffer bullying on campus and online. The proportion of Asians being bullied is 20% higher than their peers of other ethnicities. The data is shocking, which makes us realize that Asian children in school deserve more attention than they have now.
Children who suffer from Asian hate on campus often endure it in silence due to the Asian culture influence. More seriously, during the post-pandemic resumption of on-ground classes, Asian students have become the main target of school bullying. It may cause serious psychological trauma to them, especially when they're young. At this time, the care, support, and help from parents are particularly important for them. However, most Asian parents don't know how to solve the problem of Asian hate their children may encounter at school, and even have problems with how to start talking with about the topic of race. So to help the parents prevent and intern in bullying, also better guide and protect their children, we created the APS, Asian Parent Support. What? Oh, sorry. Restart. 现在能看到吗?
Yep,
and
I can see your screen here.
Okay, sorry about that. The AP Support is an online platform aimed to improve the ability of Asian parents to resolve racial discrimination faced by their children, provide them with guidance from professional consultants, and help them take actions as soon as possible when their children is under Asian hate. And the AP Support include help, event, report, and resource sections to meet the different needs of children. And here is one pit video to help you have a comprehensive understanding of our platform.
In the United States, school bullying occurs mostly in middle schools, and there is a trend of children being bullied at a younger age. According to studies, there is an average of 1 in 4 students being bullied, and it goes worse for Asians. The proportion of Asian children who are being bullied is 20% higher than that of their peers of other ethnicities, and the proportion of online bullying is also 3 times more. However, Asian students rarely ask for help after being bullied. Their parents couldn't provide the necessary help if they don't know what happened to their kids in school. Even when they are willing to seek help, there is still a huge cultural gap between them and the parents. Miscommunication and lack of professional support may also stop the victim from looking for help and causing them to become isolated and helpless. To help the parents of Asian children to prevent and intervene bullying and better guide and protect their children, we created Asian Parent Support. AP Support is a platform that provides online events, real-time hate incidents reports, guidance and counseling services to Asian parents whose children might be suffering in racial discrimination. Using AP Support, you can browse different online events, including parenting lectures, racial awareness seminars, and more. You can also join events to learn from professionals, discuss with Asian American communities, and meet with school officials. To track the Asian hate incidents on campus, AP Support provides a map that reports real-time hate incidents in an area chosen by the user. Simply type in your city or zip code, and you will get the report corresponding to your area. We encourage everyone to report the hate incidents they encounter to stand united against racism at school. Parents can also get the immediate notification on local hate incidents by enrolling in the notification list. Professional counseling support is also available on our platform. You can make an appointment for one-on-one guidance, consultation, regular expert meetings, and parent sharing sessions, making it very easy to seek help from professional consultants and volunteers. This resources page provides a detailed guide for parents on different topics. For example, how to minimize the cultural and generation gap with their children, how to talk to them about race, and what to do when their kids experience Asian hate. AP Support stands together with parents to fight against racial discrimination towards Asian community. Together, we enable our children to become confident and knowledgeable to face racial hate incidents.
Yes, in the future, we hope to collaborate with psychological counseling agencies, schools, and communities to better support Asian American parents and children to fight against Asian hate on campus. We want to provide a better environment for all Asian children. Thank you for listening. We're open to any question and comment.
Thank you very much, AP Support team. It was worth the wait. next team, which is 8x8 voter registration app. Is Tyler ready to present? Perfect. I can
Yes.
Okay, that was a prompt. So there's a run the world limit to how many mic holders.
I see. Okay. My screen is being shared now. Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. All right. Okay. Then we can get started. First, we will play a video, and then we will get on to our presentation. Thanks, everyone, for your patience. The history of Asians in America is marked by exclusion, tragedy, and struggle. Generations before us have stood and fought for acceptance, fair treatment, and representation in politics. Yet today, we see Asian Americans having one of the lowest voter turnouts in the country. Meanwhile, anti-Asian hate crimes spiked 150% in 2020 and continue to plague our AAPI communities. Something needs to change. How might we empower Asian Americans today to use their political voice to stop Asian hate in our communities?
To address this political underrepresentation, we created the 8x8 challenge, asking participants to invite 8 of their Asian friends to register to vote in 8 days. After doing so, participants earn rewards at Asian-owned restaurants to support their businesses. This creates a fun, social, and engaging way process. Let's take a look at how this works.
All right, hopefully you can still see my screen right now. So let's do a demo of the product. First, we will take a look at what users will see when they take up the 8x8 challenge. Users will see marketing from 8x8 on various social media platforms. It's super easy for them. As they're scrolling through Instagram, they can see a post like this and click in to take the challenge. They navigate to the 8x8 challenge website, and to sign up, all they have to do is enter their email address. They'll see 8 empty slots that they have to fill up with 8 badges in 8 days. To begin, they just hit invite friends, and they can share this post on any social media platform or simply copy and paste their unique link. In this case, we'll share on Instagram, and this is what the post would look like. Now let's see what their friends would say or what they see when they want to respond to such a challenge. So on Instagram, friends would see that Bruce has accepted the 8x8 challenge. They think it's really meaningful, and they can click in here to take action. They really want to help Bruce finish this challenge, and here are all the different actions they can take. Here, they can register to vote. They fill out the voter registration form and click on submit. And once we validated that their registration is confirmed, we will send them an email to thank them for doing their part. Now, if this friend has already registered to vote, there are other actions they can take as well, such as taking the challenge themselves or setting up election reminders. Now, let's finish this challenge. When all 8 unique friends have taken action towards Bruce's challenge, he will get a complete congratulations. He'll also get an email sent to him with a reward redemption code from any kind of local AAPI-owned restaurants. He can also click into the link and come to our website and see who are the participating restaurants. And finally, we didn't forget about the restaurants. When a restaurant onboards with 8x8, they can tell us how many rewards they're willing to give away. When successful challengers walks in through the door and asks to redeem a reward, they can use our website to scan the redemption code and validate if this is indeed a true challenger who has won the challenge. They grant the award, and we help them update the rewards inventory. That's the end of the demo, and now I'm going to pass it to Tyler.
From an engineering perspective, we plan to utilize Rock the Votes API for instant and easy voter registration. We will also send reminder emails, keep track of users' badges, and implement a QR code system to redeem rewards and track inventory. For the front end, we plan to use React, and for the back end, we will scale up with Amazon Web Services. From a growth perspective, we plan to roll out a pilot program in the Bay Area. To do this, we already have 3 restaurant partners, and we have plans to expand with the help of our nonprofit volunteer team. We'll then launch a second phase of the pilot program, focusing on San Francisco, and in the future, we'll look to scale the model by working with chain restaurants and onboarding corporate sponsors to expand our reach nationwide.
I think you might be muted.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I was, okay. So Fiona Ma, Mike Honda, and many others already support the idea and spoke publicly about it at our May rally. We already have agreements from 3 restaurants and plan to expand to it in the future. We are committed to creating political change, increasing the voice of Asian Americans, and we'll do this by translating our campaign from analog to the digital world. Any large-scale change has to start at the ballot box by registering and turning out Asian American communities. We hope you'll join us in this effort, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, team. Okay, there we go. I'm bringing the new team on board. So the next coming up is Project Reopple. I think Shu Yun will be the one to present. So you're good.
Okay, great. So in response to the recent incidents and trauma experience of to the Asian community, we want to improve the overall well-being and mental health of AAPI community. So in order to really understand deeply about their concerns, we did online surveys with 30 participants who are Asian American from different backgrounds, and we also talked with 8 user interviews about their perspective on mental health and their challenges. So here's what we found.
Yes, so here's a quick overview of what we learned from the surveys and interviews, and a lot of participants expressed that they've been feeling isolation and confusion since the start of the pandemic and a lot of anti-Asian hate crimes. And at the same time, they've been struggling in expanding support network beyond their friends and family members, although they really wanted to. And then last but not least, they expressed that in the past they didn't have much positive experience with professionals, therapists, because their cultural backgrounds are just like really different. And next slide, please. And based on all of the things we heard from those user research, we started to think, how might we provide a safe space for AAPI members to discuss challenges and obstacles that they face in order to boost their confidence and mental health? And, here's a quick demo video that showcase how we address the issue.
I don't think I can hear it.
Oh. How about now? No? Oh. Let me see. Let me try again.
I can also play the video from my end if that makes it easier.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sounds good. You might need to stop sharing your screen so I can share mine.
Sure.
I'm Mia, a rising senior in college. I have just received an internship offer for the summer. I'm very excited, but also quite nervous. I don't know what to expect from my first professional experience in the US for working remotely, and I'm unsure whether the recent anti-Asian sentiment would affect the workplace. I guess I shouldn't worry too much, but all of these thoughts seem to be chasing after me. I don't want to vent to my friends. They are probably as concerned as I am. This is when I come across Ryopol from a school event. Ryopol is a platform that allows me to connect with others anonymously in a safe space. Besides finding people with similar concerns and interests, I can also talk to professional therapists who understand my context and cultural backgrounds. Why not give it a try? I decided to join Ryopol as their watermelon. Since then, Ryopol has become my primary source of support. I post and share things on my mind to the community, or to therapists only if I worry about the post sentiment. Shortly after I share my concerns about workplace discrimination and microaggressions, I received several replies from a list of certified therapists, and find Jennifer's advice particularly resonating. As I check out her profile, I become interested in scheduling an individual appointment with her to discuss why my feelings are so strong. I also start following relevant topics in Ryopol, read related posts, and chat with other users even after I start working in the summer. I'm able to make new friends from these discussions and find people that I trust. They gradually become a part of my support network and alleviate the loneliness I've fought against since the pandemic. This is the story of Mia, one but not the only one needing support out of the 20 million Asian American population in the US. About 3 million of AAPI members reported having a mental illness in the past year, with more than 3 million needing support during this challenging time. However, the AAPI community is 3 times less likely to seek any mental health services due to stigma, language barriers, lack of awareness, and lack of professional providers with the right cultural context and knowledge. Ryopol creates a safe space for AAPI members to discuss obstacles and challenges with a supportive community, helps them find the right professional help when needed, and allows therapists with strong skills and knowledge to stand out from competition. Reopo aims to boost confidence and improve the overall mental health of the AAPI community.
Thank you for sharing the So to Siyu. Can everyone hear Siyu's voice?
Not yet.
Siyu, maybe you need to unmute yourself.
Maybe one of the other folks on the team could wrap up the presentation on her behalf.
So basically our MVP is to try to make the posting and sharing stories very easily for our users, and also allow them to direct message therapists and other users. And other than that, we want to make it easy to create profile and post and reply to stories. And in our vision to the stage number 2, we want to increase the recommendation and filter visible stories by emotions and topics, and also make it automatically flag inappropriate content to make sure it's a very safe community. And we also want to make sure like different users with different language can use different viewing options so they can choose the preferred language they want. And for our future stage number 3, we want to make the personal feed section very personalized so they can choose their professional therapists in their needs and match them with people who are very like-minded. And lastly, we will talk about adoption strategy. So basically, we want to co-host events and using those influencers in the work professionals, and to raise issues such as breaking the bamboo ceiling and actions against Asian hate. Also, we will invite psychological professionals to talk about mental health tips and resources for post-COVID era. And next, we want to partnership with schools and AAPI clubs, and also other Asian mental health community to bring those leaders together and help build our community. Yeah, that is all for our presentation. And thank you. We will like to hear a lot from you guys about the feedback and what you want to ask.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Reopo team. In the interest of time, maybe we'll limit to just one comment or feedback from judges.
Thank you.
Obviously, judges, you're welcome to send any direct comments or feedback in the chat as well. If no questions, we'll move on to the next team. Again, feel free to share any comments in the group chat afterwards. And team, I would just ask that you stop sharing screen. Worked with technical difficulties. So thank you to the Reopo team again. Up next, we have WatchPal from Fengbo. You're welcome to this stage.
All right. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, heartbreaking backlash against the AAPI community skyrocketed. More than 6,000 incidents were reported since then. Just like many others, Emma, a 67-year-old elderly, is left in fear. Together with the feeling of invisibility and helplessness, she doesn't feel safe in her own neighborhood. Recently, she was introduced to the Watch Tab emergency reporting device and takes it wherever she goes. Today, after Emma walked out of the grocery store, she was assaulted by a strong man. In time of the emergency, she triggered a Watch Tab to protect herself. Watch Tab not only makes a loud alarm sound, but immediately notifies Emma's emergency contact and people nearby via the Watch Tab application. Our Watch Tab app encourages people to use the power of the bystanders. People can broadcast the incident to make more people aware of what happened. Once the broadcasting is ended, they can also add details, such as incident type, a description, and so on. By lowering the barrier to incident reporting and data collection, we can not only paint a more accurate picture of the incident, but also help law enforcement hold attackers accountable. Once a witness has additional videos or details, the app recognizes their efforts, and other people can also react to their contributions by sending emojis and comments. At any time, a user can report an incident directly from the app or from their Watch Tab device. They can broadcast the incident and call 911 in emergency situations. Once they are safe, they can click on the I'm Safe Now button to notify their emergency contact and stop the Watch Tab alarm. A Watch Tab user can use the map to get a sense of how safe their neighborhood is. Users can click on a marker on the map to get a quick view of an incident. Given what time it is of the day, our app will automatically switch to daytime or dark theme to increase its accessibility. WatchPal recognizes people's contribution in the moment and shows badges they have collected on their profile page. We leverage this positive feedback to give people meaning and purpose in what they do and encourage continuous engagement. In addition to real-time instant reporting, all data collected via our platform will be available for everyone to view in the Trend tab. We aim to paint a more comprehensive and accurate picture of the anti-Asian hate issue, driving broader awareness outside the AAPI community. At this critical time of history, let's unite and look out for each other. Let's speak up, take action, and fight against the xenophobia until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream.
All right. Now let me go to just very quickly go through a few slides. So as you can see, our solution consists of the WatchPal application and also the WatchTab hardware widget. So let me just briefly mention about our hardware design as well. So users can trigger an incident reporting immediately by pulling out the top part of the Watch tab. And with this plastic tab removed, so the battery is going to be connected and enabled the embedded speaker to make loud alarm sound. And also besides, WatchTab is connected with the WatchPal application via Bluetooth. So as soon as it is triggered, the app will notify the user's emergency contact and also people nearby who are on the platform. And we also designed it in a way that we designed it this way because we believe that in the time of the emergency, so there is really no time to locate one's phone, unlock it, and launch the application to do something. And additionally, we want to prevent the anti-accidental trigger of the Watch tab. So we designed this zigzag shape, so it will take a little bit of effort to pull the tab out. And as for the key differentiators for our solution, I think it is, first of all, so we focus on the real-time instant reporting, and we really want to help people get immediate help because time really matters in emergency situations. And as I mentioned, this is a software and hardware solution because of the emergency situation that people may be facing. And then we want to leverage the power of the community and the power of bystanders. As many people has mentioned, right? So how do we unite all the people and really provide positive feedback to encourage continuous engagement? And then we also want to, so our solutions focus on the anti-Asian hate incidences. As we know, there are also other platforms that exist out on the market that does similar incident reporting, but we want to focus on this anti-Asian hate issue so that the cases and the messages are not going to be diluted among everything else. And lastly, with all the cases we collected, so we want to paint a more comprehensive and accurate picture of this issue and driving broader awareness inside and also outside the AAPI community. And lastly, I really want to thank everyone on my team for their great contribution and great ideas and execution. And let me know if there's any questions we can answer for you. Thank you, everyone, for really your great patience. And yeah.
Thank you so much to the entire WatchPal team. Any last comment, questions? If not, I would just encourage all the judges to send any questions in. Team, last but not least, welcome the team at number one thing again, racism. I think we have Lee back on. So number one thing against racism. Lee, you have the floor.
The hashtag there because we want to utilize all the social network. So before I start the presentation, let me run.
This past year has been a year of fear and distress for all Asians alike. With a horrific and heartbreaking surge in violence against the AAPI community across the US, there's an unprecedented level of attention towards stopping Asian hate. Racism is a deadly virus, and silence is not an option. Many of us wanted to help, but are not sure what we can do. We don't know how to take the first step. We don't know whether we can make a difference. We're struggling to move beyond saying hashtag Stop Asian Hate towards making actionable impacts. Then, as the initial strong emotions fade away, nothing changes, until we hear the next shocking incident. The same pattern repeats again and again. How can we break the emotional dead loop, mobilize all Asians and allies to stand up and fight against racism together? One Thing Against Racism website is a community that encourages everyone to take attainable actions, share their stories, inspire more people, and make impacts together. Our product comes in the form of a mobile website where people can log on and share, engage with others, and propose project ideas that encourages others to participate. There are three main functionalities that our product delivers. First, share actions you did. If you have done an activity towards fighting for racism, you can come and share your action, experiences, and stories for others to see and get inspired. By encouraging sharing on social media, our community will expand and grow in the long term. Second, action recommendation. For those who want to help but don't know how, we provide a quick start. By browsing through a set of simple action suggestions, our users will be able to do one small thing and make an impact right away. Users can also see what others have done and engage with them by reacting, commenting, and sharing their actions. 3. Project proposal. Do you have an idea but need some help? We got your back. In the teamwork section, we built a space for collaboration. our users can join an ongoing project or propose a new idea to make difference together. Visit our site for further details at www.one-thing.org. Don't forget to like and share this video if you support our project. Thanks for watching.
Okay, let me share it back to my deck again. Bear with me, please.
So, oh, there we go. We're out.
Yeah, it's coming up. It's very slow for whatever reason.
Oh, good.
Okay, so after watching the video, I wonder how many of you felt you ever got stuck into this deadly, not deadly, the emotional dead loop. Just couldn't get out. This thing just happening all the time, right? And I do. And after long time of thinking about the issue, this dead loop issue, and after some really encouraging personal experience, when I talk to friends, take actions, I believe the act, share, and inspiration chain introduced by one thing against racism will help us break the loop. And instead, it's going to create a positive feedback loop. So it's going to generate tons of new actions, new effort, new people all together, and eventually make a difference. So that's the whole idea behind the one thing against racism. So that's the idea, and now the UX team did a fantastic job and designed a really beautiful website. You guys can go to one-thing.org and take a look. It's still MVP. Unfortunately, the developers are a little bit behind, but you can see how beautiful the website is and how much work we have done, and you can see our ambition, our plan. Right. So I think the video and the website should tell us all about the idea and what we have done for this hackathon. I would like to spend more time talking about the future. Right? As we all know, any social movement like this is hard. Right? Many people probably just do one thing and then forget about it. Right? So we want to keep it engaging. We want to keep the ball rolling. We want to keep the loop, the positive feedback loop going constantly. So keeping the website engaging is one of the most highest priority. So we specifically designed the website to look like a familiar social network UI, just look like Facebook or Instagram. So people feel very comfortable using it. And we specifically designed the site have very positive energy. Even though racism is a really dark problem, but we want to encourage people. We want to encourage people, make people feel, they can do things here. So that we really put a lot of thought in the UI design. And we also will utilize newsletters. We encourage people to subscribe to newsletters, and we're going to send updates to them. We're going to tell them, hey, the little thing you did yesterday or the little thing you did last month really made a difference. Look at how many other people did all together with you. Or look at the project you participate. Look at the progress of the project. So we're going to use newsletter to encourage people to continue to engage people, and furthermore to encourage them to come back. When they see that little action really made a difference, they're going to want to come back and do more, or invite friends to come in and do more, right? And of course, we want to organize regular activities and even competition. Like, hey, who can see how fast we can donate to this cause, right? That kind of competition. We want to engage a lot of activities like that, both online and offline. And with offline activities, you can see what one thing I can do around me, right? And it's no brainer that we're gonna create a social media account and keep everybody engaged and contact over there too. And the other very important factor of many of the failures we saw before was too heavy, right? Many actions, it's not really easy. It's not fair to have one person continuously run by themselves or by a small group of people. So we want to make sure people won't be burned. Whoever participates, they won't be burned. It's very light, easy for them, and it's very enjoyable to do it. It's not a burden, right? So very lightweight planning, And I'm an engineer manager at Google. So we're going to utilize agile process here to make things running easily, right? And we're gonna purposely break a really large project into small pieces, and then have people easily pick the ones they really want to do and they're good at, and so they can do it very easily, right? And we also want to tag those different actions with different categories, like how hard it is, what kind of skill is going to be required. So it's easier for the volunteers come in and they pick the actions they want to do. So this kind of lightweight, sustainable process is another key thing for the website. And for the movement also. And of course, our marketing strategies, the first thing we're going to do is social media. We actually like to target young professionals, very energetic, like all the participants in this hackathon. They are the ones that have the skill and have the passion to help. So we're going to target them, and we have social media to gather them together. And not only we can share on social media, we can also pull down. That's why we have this hashtag, right? Hash one thing against racism. So we can pull down all the mentions of the hashtag online and show people how many people are joining together, working together. So social media is a big strategy for marketing. And partnership. There are lots of communities or celebrities, organizations that share the same cause, share the same passion. We want to reach to them, ask for help, and offer help too, right? And there are, of course, nonprofit organizations, companies like Google, Facebook, this kind of LinkedIn, these kind of companies. They can contribute too into this movement. They can help in this movement too. And I happened to talk to one mentor lately, and he suggested GoFundMe.com has a special link dedicated to Stop Asian Hate causes, donations. So we can pull a donation into our website and use our website to share to people, have everybody try to contribute that together, right? So that kind of engagement, that kind of partnership can be very useful and is crucial too. Now, business model. So not only this is a very important social movement we want to encourage. Actually, my dream is one day we can make it another Me Too movement, just with better organization, better platform, right? And not only that, I think there are business opportunities here too, right? To run a movement like this, it's going to requires money. A donation always the first one to go, and you can see the screen layout. Just look at Instagram, right? So we could squeeze in advertisement, right? If there's more traffic coming to the site, so that's another way to make money. And we can do revenue sharing with other business partners, and we can even incubate startups because we have this project section, right? People have similar ideas; they can come in and organize a project together and get a lot of help easily, right? And of course, crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, all other things we can make this movement, this business sustainable. And we can also white label this movement. So not only we can do one thing against racism, right? We can do one thing, say, help Jewish community, right? One thing to help Indian community, right? A lot of one things we can do. I believe our platform is actually tailored. It's very suitable for all those kind of things. And we white label our software, our platform, and have more people to utilize it. Okay, so that's our idea. Thank you so much, and I want to say thank you so much for the team for the hard work. Without you, this idea would never come to here. Everybody contributed more than one thing to this idea already. Thank you all, and it's time for questions.
Thank you so much, Lee. I saw maybe Wendy had a comment and wanted to pitch in. Any other comments or questions? Judges, we do apologize that we are running a little bit over time. So I know all of you have filled in deliberations already, so hopefully your deliberation phase would be straightforward. Judges, if there are no other questions, I would ask that you follow Chen to the next event in the third session to deliberate. And attendees, please stay here in the meantime. We'll just give judges couple moments to wrap up, and then once they're ready, I will let all of you know when to jump to the next session, and then I'll take everyone over together for final awards.
I'm sorry, I didn't see the question. Was it covered already?
Yes, judges, any final questions and or comments? Feedback? I think that's it from the judges. There are comments. Lee, definitely take your time to scroll through comments if you have any feedback. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit of time in the awards section in case people want to continue the conversation. But all the presenters and attendees, if I can ask that you stay here, and judges, please do follow Chen to the third session. So as judges are logging into the third session, all the presenters, can I ask that all the presenters come back onto stage? So Lee, sorry, I should have asked that you'd probably just stay because you've already presented. If I can have all the presenters stay on stage so you can take some questions directly from the audience. And judges, all you have to do is leave this session and click open the third session. So Peter and Wendy, as well as Lily, just bottom left. Yep, you got it. Awesome. Welcome back, Lee. I apologize. We're running shorter on time at the end, so I know judges didn't have as many questions or comments towards the end. But I know audience members have a lot of questions. I see so many comments that are going with lots of questions, comments, feedback, partnership requests, everything. So any other presenters from previous projects would love to have you come back to the stage as well. So anyone from Village, Hate Crime Tracker, Yudi is obviously here from the C, Echo Balancer, Ben, or anyone else from the team, We the Asians, AP Support, Through the Looking Glass, 8x8, Reopple, WatchPal, and One Thing Against Racism, which I pronounced properly this time around. Perfect. In case any of you want to collaborate across projects or you have feedback and or questions for each other, you're obviously welcome to do that as well. I just saw a number of really good comments, feedback, everything here. So let's see what other questions people may have. Yeah, so just another friendly reminder, if we can have one presenter or multiple if you want from each team to grab the mic and join the stage to answer any questions from the audience.
Yeah, so sure, can I start?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen earlier comments on the C project. A couple judges and audience asked if we can broaden the Chinese Community Center to Asian Community Center. Of course. Yeah, the reason we did the CCC is because the majority of the team are with Chinese heritage. So apparently we don't think we can represent, Korean or Japanese or Thai or, Vietnamese. That's why we want to start with the CCC as a pilot. And if we can make it happen, then we can share our insights and experience with other cultural groups. Then we can have, the VCC, the KCC, etc. Yeah. And of course, we will host Asian cultural events and programs. Yeah, definitely we are inclusive and open to all. It's not just for Chinese. Yeah, that's my answer to this question.
Hello, Shuo. I wanted to address some of the comments that I've seen in the chat about the transparency in this in the hackathon, and I've got a pretty simple question, right? So the I think some sort of ability to look at how the mentors voted is indeed something that might be important especially to the people that have worked on the projects. But one thing that I wanted to ask you specifically about is the Echo Balancer project. The contact person for Echo Balancer is Bin, and this isn't meant to be a personal attack or anything like that, but from what I understand, Bin is also the co-founder of Tech for AAPI, which seems a little strange, right? So the co-founder of this organization that is hosting the hackathon is participating in his own competition. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, thanks.
So one of actually not just one, but multiple co-organizers of the hackathon are also participants in the actual hackathon as well, which is why we want to make sure that all the different award categories are highly transparent. So in terms of judges with ranking, well, actually, let me start with the last award, which is Best Hack. Obviously, this is straightforward in that it's just a YouTube vote, so anybody can log on to YouTube now and see how many each of the videos have likes for.
Yeah,
So
that's great. Were there any steps taken to prevent, the buying of likes?
Absolutely. So you can actually, well, on the back end, you can actually track when likes happen, and obviously any suspicious buying behavior is obvious. If you look at the videos now, it's actually not very much a cliffhanger as to which one was the winner of the best hack project. It's not one of the co-organizers. And then if you are looking at projects that will receive judges are deliberating now, so we'll find out what they come up with, but they do have a metric. They have Sorry, not this one. Everybody, we can leave this stage and go to session 3. You go back to Run the World main event. I will see you at session 3. So time to join session 3. I will end this stage here.
Thank you, sure.
Thank you. Is presenting, but unfortunately she just learned that her son is in the ER, so she is unavailable right now, but I would love to present to the teams on her behalf. So roll for the 5 runner-up teams. The first runner-up team is Reopple. Congratulations to the Reopple. The second runner-up team is Chinese Center. Congratulations to Yudi. And the third runner-up team is AP. So congratulations to the entire team. The fourth is Cal. Congratulations. This is actually a really cool hardware play. And last up is Hate Crime Tracker. Congratulations to Lee and the Hate Crime Tracker team. And by the way, I'm actually learning who are in real time as well. So while the judges were deliberating, they actually filled in the slots. So it is, for me, learning for the first time who these top-ranking teams are as well. So congratulations again to the 5 runner-up teams. And next, I will pass it on to our fellow judge to announce the top 3 teams. So to announce the third, second, and then first place team, Spencer would love to invite you to stage to present who the winning teams are.
Great. Do I need to do anything, or can you hear me already?
We can hear you.
Okay. Are you going to show a slide, or do
yes,
I?
I will. We can do a more dramatic drum roll if you would like.
Well, first I'll give it just a little bit of color that in our judges' deliberation, all of these teams have done amazing work, and it was very exciting to see all the things you've done. I think the other sort of general comment that I'll make is that some of the projects that you're working on are extremely ambitious. I think as judges, we biased on things that were closer to realization. So if I look at sort of what we ended up choosing as winners, we picked things that we thought were quite pragmatic and were, had prototypes that were fairly close to realization. That said, some of the things that didn't make the top 3, if you get them going, they could be even more impactful, and they may be harder and away from completion, but boy, we'd love to see you get them done too. So congratulations to everybody before we announce the top 3. So that said, a drum roll, and are we doing it 3, 2, 1, or I haven't seen these slides, so you tell me.
We are doing it 3, 2, 1.
In third place, a team that is bringing some political to the community and looks like something that can be very can be done, can be scaled up. Drum roll, please. You can change.
We have?
Yes. The 8x8. The observations of the judges are that it was certainly surprising to see the low figures on current voting percentages, and there was among some of the judges that it's a heavy lift to get in this community to start voting. Everything we can do to do it is huge, and this viral element, the fun, fantastic idea, and we'd love to see it take off. So congratulations to 8x8. Our second place winner had some interesting overlaps and similar themes. This is a team that on another kind of political engagement for the community. Also looks very pragmatic, very realizable, and has some great implementation already started. Drum roll. And can we flip to?
Yes.
Second place. We the Asians. And one of the observations from the judging discussion was that it's sort of a one-punch that if it's difficult to get some folks in the community, particularly older folks, to take a day off work and go vote, then perhaps there's an easier step one can take is, hey, get engaged. send an email, right? Find out what's going on with issues. And the fact that this product also what's happening, and you can have the complete loop, you can understand whether you're making an impact or not. Really impressive, and it's something that we haven't seen before, and we're excited to award We the Asians. Congratulations to this group. And our first place, actually, it's interesting, the distance in our scores between first and second was pretty, there was a pretty good gap. So there was pretty widespread agreement among the judging group that these folks really stood out. As much as everyone has done amazing work, this one we generally thought was even better. And again, pretty realizable, and really a thing that it's when you sort of touch your forehead and say, wow, I wish I thought of that. And once you see it, it's so evident. But until you see it, no one takes notice. So with the big drum roll, our first place winner is, next please, is Echo. We had a number of judges who said that they're going to use it themselves. We had folks who said this is a thing that's going to get picked up by me. It's sort of an obvious thing. It's also the case, it wasn't made a big deal of in the presentation, but we noticed that the source code is already posted in the course. So it's something that the community can rally around and continue to improve upon. So congratulations to the Echo Balancer team and to
Congratulations, and if it's okay, I ask all the judges to unmute themselves. Give everyone a huge round of applause for all their hard work. Congrats. A huge thank you to all the judges for all of your time with us today on a Sunday afternoon to judge and listen to all the amazing presentations, and also a huge thank you to all the teams and attendees that are here today. If any judges have any final words that you would like to share with any of the participating teams or the audience in general, would like to give you a chance to share any feedback that you would like. So I'll pause right here.
I wouldn't mind just thanking everybody who participated for all the great work. It felt like an honor to be here and see all the work that put in. So I don't need the clapping. I think everybody else who did the work needs clapping. So there's my clapping for everyone else.
Plus one on that, just want to share how impressed I am with everything. I watched all the videos yesterday channel and just really amazed by how fast, right, and how inspiring all the ideas and executions are. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize, so all the presenters, all the developers, all the UI designers are very smart, very powerful. And all the apps to develop, maybe not the most monetizable ones. You can spend the time develop the next Instagram, WhatsApp, and YouTube, whatever apps, which can be very commercialized. But you spend your time on this maybe not super popular monetizable app. But I just want you to realize, but the app you're developing is very powerful for the Asian community, and it is very fantastic. Really big thank you to everybody participating.
So I'll just add one more thing. I think to echo something that Spencer said at the beginning, where the criteria for a hackathon is very specific. So those of you who did not win an award, I know about rewards, but it's much about rewards, about ideas. I would just encourage you to not let not winning an award to prevent you from continuing pursuing. There's either the same idea or different ideas, because we need more people who are pursuing different ideas and different approaches, different executions in the space to make progress.
Yeah. For me, I would say echoing all the other judges, I feel super proud of the teams participating, and I'm super proud to be part of this community as a whole, and then meeting all community members and also supporters. I feel those 1 month event, we built a lot of lines and rapport along the way. I do not feel lonely anymore. I think that is one purpose of this event alone. We through our effort, we can enable a lot of awareness and enact changes. And then participating in this event is already one big step forward for the whole community. And thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you so much for all the volunteers, sponsors, and also the judges to be part of this. Thank you.
I thought I'm just going to repeat everything everybody just said, but it's just such an inspiring experience to me, not only to see so many demos, but also just to see the active participations from the broader community. I just want to echo that I no longer feel alone, and I feel very bullish about the future that we're going to create for Asian community.
Yeah, I'll just jump in with last remarks is small acts of activism all together create collective action. And I think, this group getting together and coming up with these ideas is an act of activism. And the AAPI community really appreciates the time that you took out to come up with these really inventive, great ideas to help the community. And I think just small plug for Stand with Asian Americans. I think everyone thinks it's a group of business leaders and that it's supposed to be kind of like people with titles and whatnot. That's not true. Any of you can actually join Stand with Asian Americans and just get plugged in and get funding for your ideas and be with the community. So that's a invitation for anyone to kind of join and figure out how to work with other individuals within the AAPI community to actually make these ideas come to life.
If no other any judges want to add in last words, we're good. If no other judges,
thank you, Sho, for your facilitation as always.
Of course. Thank you all, and all the presenters make my job so easy. So thank you all. With that, I think. Thank you, judges, for leaving us such powerful messages to end our weekend on. And I think all of you have given such great encouragements to all the teams to hopefully continue to work on their ideas. So whether or not you're one of the winning teams today, obviously feel free to reach out to any of us through the respective organizations that we represent, and we would love to play our part in help pushing your ideas forward. So a huge thank you to all the judges, all the presenters, and all the audience members again. Last but not least, a special thank you to everyone on the Tech for API Alliance team. It really everyone who made this hackathon possible in less than a month's time. And so thank you very much again, and happy Sunday. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.